In the dry, harsh lands of South Africa, there was a man. His name was Nelson Mandela, and the moment it was spoken, it carried a weight so powerful it could shake the world. But the moment when his name echoed across history had not come easily. It was the result of years of pain, resistance, and unwavering belief. Mandela was not a hero as people understand it. He was not merely a man of action, but a living legend, a symbol of a fight that spanned decades. When Mandela was arrested in 1962, the world did not view him as a revolutionary. To most, he was just another black man fighting against the system. But for him, the fight was never just about his own freedom. It was about the freedom of the entire nation. At that time, no one could have predicted how powerful his actions would become. In his mind, there was always a single question: is freedom truly just for me, or is it for everyone? And then, one day, the moment came. A day that would change the course of history. After 27 long years, Nelson Mandela was finally freed. The prison doors that had kept him captive for nearly 3 decades opened, but outside those gates, a different kind of battle was about to unfold. There was fear in the air, fear of the unknown. The nation was still broken, divided by years of racial hatred and oppression. But Mandela, even as a free man, was not just stepping into the sunlight. He was stepping into the possibility of healing, a possibility that was larger than just one man. When he was released, the world held its breath. But as he stepped into the light of freedom, the truth began to spread. Mandela's release was not just about one man's victory. It was about the possibility of reconciliation, the hope that the wounds of the past could heal. Yet there was no celebration, not yet. Mandela knew that true freedom came with a price, a cost that could only be paid through understanding, unity, and forgiveness. In 1994, Mandela was elected the first black president of South Africa. But his victory was more than just a political triumph. It was a symbol of the transformation of a nation, of a people who had long been silenced, now finding their voice. The road to this moment had been paved with countless struggles, tears, and sacrifices, but when Mandela took office, it wasn't just a win for one person, it was a win for everyone who had ever fought for justice and equality. Yet, Mandela did not revel in his victory. He understood that South Africa's true freedom would not come from one man's position of power, but from the collective will of its people. Mandela's greatest achievement was not just breaking free from chains. It was the ability to break the cycle of hatred and division that had plagued his people for centuries. In his presidency, he made it clear that the true battle was not over, and that reconciliation, not retribution, would be the foundation of a new South Africa. He knew that to heal a nation, people had to be willing to forgive, no matter how hard that might seem. As he led the nation, Mandela faced opposition, not just from those who had supported apartheid, but from within his own people. Old wounds took time to heal, and there were still those who clung to anger and resentment. But Mandela's leadership showed that forgiveness was the only way forward. He never forgot the pain, but he understood that the future of South Africa would depend on the ability of its people to look past their history and build something better together. When Mandela stood before the world, he was no longer just a symbol of resistance. He had become a living example of what true leadership meant, the ability to unite, to inspire, and to forgive. His legacy was not just in the political realm, but in the hearts of millions who saw in him the possibility of a world where justice and equality could truly exist. But even after all of his victories, after all the moments that would be etched into history, there remained one question Mandela never stopped asking. What happens now? It wasn't enough to simply be free. Now, the real work began. What kind of country would South Africa be? Would it remain divided, or would it rise as one? Mandela's life was spent shaping that answer, and though his role as president ended, his influence continued to shape the nation. Years later, as Mandela grew older and eventually passed away, the world mourned. Yet his death wasn't the end of a man. It was the passing of a vision, the loss of a man who had dedicated his entire life to justice and peace. But even in death, Mandela's legacy lived on. His name would forever be synonymous with the fight for freedom, unity, and the strength to forgive. And in that legacy, there was one truth that would never fade. Nelson Mandela had not just freed South Africa. He had shown the world how to heal its deepest wounds. His greatest achievement was not simply his release from prison or his presidency. It was his ability to lead not with the strength of force, but with the strength of his heart. A heart capable of showing that real freedom comes not just from breaking chains, but from healing a nation's soul. And that, perhaps, is the most profound victory of all.